I want you folks to play these 3 games from the NLA. Daily pick 3 cash flow and play with. You will be supporting sports and culture, nation building and our future. So go out and play, folks, make it a must. You will see what the National Lottery is doing for us. When you play pick 3 cash flow and play with, the NLA will support you all the way.
Starting September 30th, Monday to Friday, these 3 games will be drawn mid-morning, 9:45 a.m., midday, 12:45 p.m., and evenings, 7:45 p.m. The National Lotteries, supporting sports, culture, and nation building.
Sunday money day.
Yeah. Welcome to the ride. Welcome to Ride Along Live. How you guys doing? I am back here. Happy to be back. and you guys should appreciate the fact that I did during my workation, was able to get 2 days vacation. So I was not here Friday, and because of course I was traveling, I was in transit, and on Thursday we didn't have a program. So I got 2 days, guys, 2 good days to have a little bit of a vacation and everything. So I'm back, happy to be back, rejuvenated and all. Yeah, we got a lot to discuss, guys. Got a lot to talk about, and you are the feature. You are the blood in this program's vein today. Yeah, because this is a topic that have been circulated, punks around social media. Everybody seemed to have an opinion on it. And what's best than to come to the people, you, the viewers, to get your perspective on what's happening. Yes, guys, we're talking about the MNIB, the Marketing and National Importing Board. For those of you who are not familiar with it, it's the agency. It's the agency tasked with the responsibility of, well, should be import and export of products, right? But over the years, the Marketing and National Importing Board, which was conceptualized dating back all the way back to Eric Gary, right? Marketing Board. And of course, during the revolution, the Marketing and National Importing Board as an entity, as a body, that particular body started. Nevertheless, guys, we have been hearing back and forth for the past couple weeks that it was pending closure. The Prime Minister had a series of consultation, came out and spoke on it in St. Andrews, I believe in St. Patrick and Carriacou, and, you know, talk to the people about the issues and the problems that the MNIB had. Now, what we heard a few days ago was that the MNIB would be closed, done, finished. And of course, it brought a lot of concern to people because they didn't know what exactly would replace MNIB, Market and National Importing Board. Today, the Prime Minister came out and gave an extended press conference and spoke about the way forward for MNIB. That's where you guys come in. Now, we have a good panel that we're going to be chatting with, but again, you guys are the blood of this program here today. Coming up in a short while, we have the Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Adrian Persuader Thomas, to give us his perspective on it. And of course, you guys would be given an opportunity to call in as well. But it's your program tonight, right? So share the thing, share the program, share the thing, share the thing, share the thing. Hey! J. Susu Alexander, big up yourself, thank you so much. Dave Botran, big up yourself, thank you so much. Hey, Agatha Spice, how you doing? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody share, everybody share. Everybody share. Everybody share. Let me tell you guys today, we also have, he's no stranger to the platform. He is a good friend of Ryan Along Live, Mr. Dwight Sampson, journalist, and he's going to give his perspective on the whole closure and the reemergence of something new that would come out of this this MNIB. Is here with us to chat with us in a little bit as well. Okay, all right. So a lot. Hey, Sherry Ann, how you doing? Big up yourself, Sherry Travel. Yes, guys. So before we go on, again, guys, take a deep dive into this. I want to also remind you that we are going to be doing this trip to Dubai, right? This trip to Dubai, and it will be an amazing experience. All right. So what we're inviting you guys to do right now is click on that, just point your phone or well, whenever you're watching this, point your phone to that, go to Riders Travel, and then you would be able to get more information and to book your trip, book your travels with us to Dubai. All right? All right, nice and easy, guys, nice and easy. So everybody go ahead and share the program. Share the program, share the program, share the program, share the thing as we get ready to start. All right? Yeah. Again, guys. Hey, thank you so much. All right, let's bring in first and foremost, let's bring in Mr. Dwight Sampson. Dwight, what go, my brother?
Hey, Junior. Good night. Boy, it's like I have shares and right along now. It's always a pleasure, my brother. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, it's always, man. It's always. And you know, I have to tell everyone that you are probably the most committed, because you never really said no yet. I appreciate that.
Unless I'm at work.
Yes, unless you're at work, but you make your time, you make yourself available, and it's so much appreciated. And thank you so much.
So good night to your audience, and good night to the other panelists. I believe one of them is a very esteemed gentleman. Good night to you, sir.
Thank you. Yes. Absolutely. Okay. And on the phone line, we're going to bring him in on the phone line because we are unable to get him on the video at the moment. We have Agriculture Minister, Mr. Adrian Persuader Thomas. Mr. Persuader Thomas, are you hearing us? All right, let's see. Okay, he didn't hear us. Let's try to reconnect with Persuader. Let's try to reconnect with Persuader. And everyone who's scanning the barcode, I thank you so much, and I really appreciate that. All right, I think we got Mr. Persuader back on the line. Persuader, are you there?
You're live.
Yes. Okay. All right. Are you hearing me loud and clearly?
Loud and clear.
All right. Nice. Okay, perfect. So we have the Minister of Agriculture on the line. He's on this early because he can't stay the whole hour. He has some other commitment. So let's just get right into it, guys. So I was telling you earlier late last month, I believe, there were a series of consultation. Let me just bring you back a little bit to some of the consultation and the remarks by the Prime Minister during that specific consultation. Take a quick look.
Because to some extent, and I'm going to launch right into it, the Marketing and National Importing Board is the only statutory body that has called upon the government since we assumed office to help it pay its expenses. And so in the months of November and December, we were called upon, and we agreed to do so, to pay the staff wages for the Marketing and National Importing Board for the months of November and December. Today is the 11th of January, and it's likely we will have to pay the staff salary again in the month of January. And that's the starting point to indicate that the Marketing and National Importing Board, in real terms, is bankrupt insofar as it is unable to pay its liabilities as they fall due. And
all right, so let's take it from right there and start with Mr. Adrian Persuader Thomas on the phone line right now. Mr. Persuader, Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Adrian Persuader Thomas, how did we get here? How did we get to the point now that Marketing Board essentially became bankrupt?
Well, Julian, are you hearing me clearly?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Well, it's very, very unfortunate that institutions of that nature, which is so important to the farming community, which is so important to the Grenada economy,
yes,
ends up in situations like that. It's something that we have flagged many, many years ago. I remember in my when I entered politics in 2012, 2013, we examined Marketing Board, and we came up with a plan in terms of how we're going to advise the government in terms of moving forward. We also, in 2018, this was a serious issue on the campaign trail, the revamping of Marketing Board. And in 2022, we never cease in reminding the Grenadian public that there are concerns over this very important institution. Really and truly, the government at that point in time, agriculture was not at the forefront. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, there are other services that the government was more concerned about, and therefore agriculture could not have been given the attention that it needed. And obviously, if agriculture is not given the attention, it means that Marketing Board would have suffered that fate. So it is not something that going to prosper if you do not give it the necessary attention. And therefore, it was very, very unfortunate that it had to end up there.
Some may say that when the Marketing Board was initially established, right, at that point in time, there were agricultural products that could have been exported, But now we have the advent of so much even private entities that's exporting, like Big Mac, that privately export stuff to the US and other private entities. Even, I heard of previous employees that work there now doing their own private things. How was Marketing and National Importing Board able or would be able to compete when faced with these type of challenges, especially the export of products? How was it able to compete?
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think this was the problem in terms of Marketing Board not getting produce to export because of the competition from other exporters. I think it's a question of serious mismanagement. And if you look at the report that the Integrity Commission did, I mean, this report is there's a lot of information inside there which indicate that there's serious mismanagement in the Marketing Board. There was serious misappropriation of funds, and therefore, if you have an institution going in that direction, then obviously you're gonna flop. So I don't think it was a question of being able to find products to export. At one point in time, Marketing Board was more competing with the ordinary farmers on the streets in Grenada, rather than going to North America and Europe and look for the market. We still have a lot of fruits in Grenada which are not being harvested, and which people outside in the diaspora are hungry for. People are still hungry for mangoes, and despite the challenges of airlift and so on, we as an marketing board existing since during the revolution ought to have the kind of information and data that will direct them to the lucrative market so that the greater farmers can benefit. But to compete with the farmers in Grenville or St. Patrick or Grand Lands in regards to buying farmers' agricultural products, putting a markup on it and still competing with them, was not the best thing to do. And if you don't apply serious managerial skills when you're managing institutions of that nature, obviously you're going to collapse.
Right. Do you fall the collapse? Do you fall the collapse mainly on the management structure of MNIB or political interferences or political appointments within the market and national reporting board?
All that is part of it, because if as a manager you don't, rather than apply managerial skills, you prefer to apply advice from politicians, then you're just spinning top and mud, and it shows the integrity of some of the managers that pass there, with respect. And but obviously, and as a government, you have to respect these institutions and let those institutions function because they're in the midst of a business community, and if there are people competing with them, and these people are applying strictly managerial skills in the entity and they're making profit, then I think it would have been wise for the managers of marketing board to do likewise, because you have similar companies, or maybe not in agriculture, but business enterprises,
right,
applying serious managerial skills, doing what they have to do, and they're making good profit that they can pay the workers' bonus at the end of the year. And then you have marketing board on the side not applying managerial skills, allowing politicians to dip their hand in the cookies, and they're going wrong on the ground. And the more they go wrong is the more they do the wrong things. Then obviously they're going to collapse, and government have to come in and bail them out. On a monthly basis, it was costing the government $155,000 to pay workers alone. Not talking about the utility bills and other, and the maintenance of the vehicles and other properties.
Right.
So we can't. As a responsible government, we cannot sit by and watch this thing happen and continue, because the government is not getting any money from marketing board at the end of the month. So it would just be paying out money rather than marketing board giving us something at the end of the year.
Yeah. So is it that you're saying that the previous administration basically saw that these problems were occurring over time? They knew eventually this would be the imminent fate of marketing board, and they just pretty much allowed it. They did absolutely nothing to save it.
Well, I'm not here to bash the government per se, to say what they were doing wrong, because they know exactly what they were doing wrong.
Uh-huh.
But if an institution of that nature cannot pay its staff of 94 workers, and then you cannot justify even having that amount of workers there, because over the years we have seen, not only in marketing board but in many other institutions that the state have some level of control, they will be putting workers in those places, really and truly, work places where their workers are not needed. But because they are so caught up in creating that reservoir of votes, they are being forced to put these workers in these institutions, and your expenditure far outweigh your expenses far outweigh your inputs.
Yeah, we have, again, I was saying earlier, we have my colleague Dwight Sampson, who is also on the line with us, and I appreciate you taking the time to chat with us, Minister. Dwight, any questions for the Minister?
Not really a question. Good night, Senator Thomas. Just to echo the sentiment that Senator Thomas was making. And a few days ago, I made a post on my Facebook page in the wake of the lives and stuff that were done against the government in terms of work and whatever else. And I said this: we had an NDC government for just about 8 months, compared to 24 years of another government, and it's becoming apparent to me that all of the mishaps all of the issues that this government has left, this power government has left, that the NDC government is getting blamed for. And I think it's a very unfair position to put the government in. The issue with MNIB, as Senator Thomas has rightfully flagged, has been this way for more than a decade, and possibly about 2 decades now. I remember when in my time when I was in the newsroom, CC6 newsroom, so a statement was made, and if you remember rightfully, it was around the time that the GCNA building on Lagoon Road was open. And at the end of that year, farmers were not able to get their annual bonuses. And I remember a statement was made, and I caught onto the statement, and I asked the question regarding the Market International Board. What is the present situation of Market International Board, Market International Importing Board? And from since then, the entity was struggling to meet its annual and monthly commitments. And as Senator Thomas rightfully flagged as well, what you find that happened with a lot of these state-owned agencies or these statutory bodies is that they were used for political maneuvering, and not so much for the mission that they were originally established to do. The Market International Importing Board at one point in time became, it wasn't representing the issues of the farmers. It was actually in competition with the farmers, and in some way putting the farmers at a more loss than gain. And then when you look at the markup, the price that they would buy the produce on the farmers versus what they were selling to the communities. I mean, you had to seriously question, But when you look at the management structure, and I know this for a fact, it is all political appointments. Political appointees, and certain members of the staff again are political appointees, and so you put in incompetent people to run, such a critical organization. I mean, we Marketing Board is one of the agencies.
So Dwight, so hold on, Dwight, just to cap in there. So you're saying because it's political appointee, then it is incompetence? Could it be competent political appointees?
In more cases than one. Remember, to become a member of a political party, you need no qualifications. You need no experience. To manage a firm like MNIB or the National Insurance Scheme or any of the other statutory post office, any other statutory, you need some level of experience in either managerial, agricultural science, and not what we teach in the school, but the science of agriculture, or something that you can use as the backbone of your experience to say, well, this is what I'm bringing to the table, and this is what I can contribute towards moving the organization forward. Another thing that plagued the organization is that the organization was created in the 80s. Had it been modernized since then? That's another question that we need to ask. When we look at agriculture in a whole, and you look at the 24 plus years of the Keith Mitchell administration, you question if there was a George Brizan prior to him becoming Prime Minister in 95, because George Ignatius Brizan was a champion of agriculture.
Right.
And a St. David's man who believed in what agriculture could have done, believed in nutmeg and spices and so on and so forth.
Right.
But for the 24 plus years, can we name significantly, Junior and Senator Thomas, can we name something significant besides the failed juice plant that we had in Lassages, or the farm roads that, well, where we know that particular government was just interested in building anything. But what significant has been done in agriculture for that 24 years?
Well, probably we could pose that question to the Minister of Agriculture. Has there been any significant changes, Senator Thomas, to the MNIB over the years of existence?
Modernization.
Well, I got to tell you quite frankly, the Grenadian people, they still have this nostalgic feelings for the agro-processing plant that the revolution established during this period, and it was bombed by after the US during the US invasion. Now that is the direction that would have complemented international airports so well.
Right.
Since then, we had the agro-processing plant in Lassages, which was not a government entity but a private entity. It is now sitting on the ground. As a matter of fact, it's only 4 days ago. I asked one of my scientists to pay a visit to that particular plant, give us an analysis and submit a report. Did that. And because we are heavy embarking on agriculture, not just on the production level in terms of the front line, but also in the processing business. So agro-processing is a big area. Since the revolution, I in 2008, the Honorable Dennis Lett, under the NDC administration, I remember he paid a lot of emphasis on boosting production. And after Ivan in 2004, nutmeg was on the ground. Within that 4 years of NDC reign from 2008 to 2012, nutmeg production and cocoa production increased significantly. We brought Baron in Grenada during that period of time. We had an abattoir in Grenada. So within that short period of time, we have been making stride, and we had a big plan. Had it not been for the collapse of the NDC administration in 2012, 2013, agriculture would have been far advanced, but it was a big setback after we had this infighting in the party and we lost the election. And therefore, the progress of agriculture in Grenada retrogressed for 10 years, not ignoring the 10 years prior to 2008, when the NMP administration really and truly were focusing on offshore banking and selling of passports and those sort of things in a very reckless way. So now that we are back in office, we are embarking on a serious agricultural plan again, because we believe the first thing we must do as a nation is to feed ourselves, and therefore food security will be crucial in terms of going forward. And we will make significant strides in the next couple of years, and we are hoping that we'll be able and be in a position for the country to embark on a 20-year program of serious agriculture.
Yeah, I know you're short for time, but I want to find out about it because I heard this on a program over the weekend where it was said that the MNIB was under the Ministry of Finance, right? Versus being under the Ministry of Agriculture, but from the previous administration. What are the disadvantages? Well, I could tell the obvious disadvantage of having it there, but what are the advantages of having it under the Ministry of Finance? Is there any advantages, I should ask, than having it under agriculture?
First of all, let me correct you. The ministry is under the MNIB is under the Ministry of Trade and not Finance.
Oh, it's under trade. Okay, sorry, it's under trade.
It's under trade, so it's not.
Okay.
It's not under finance. Well, remember, it's the Marketing and National Importing Board, because apart from the agricultural produce, which we are hoping that the institution would have mobilized and export,
right,
it also have a significant role to play in terms of the input. It has a monopoly on the importation of rice and sugar,
right,
up to today. So that was another important aspect of it, and the reason why it was given the statutory power to import certain products is because we were hoping that the importation of this product, having the monopoly on those products, you would have been able to make maximum profit and help subsidize agriculture.
Right.
Because agriculture, when you have to feed yourself, if you look at it like health and education, those two ministries, they could eat up a lot of your cash without really bringing in as much return as possible. Agriculture is a generating income sector, and it has to be developed to the fullest, because agriculture is what many of your colleagues may have boasted about how agriculture, cocoa and nutmeg, send the children to school and what it did for them. So that is the potential of it. So there's apart from there's whichever ministry it is aligned with, as a nation, we have to take steps, and you will realize that the Prime Minister is neither in the Ministry of Agriculture nor in the Ministry of Trade, but he has taken it on because he thinks it is so important.
Right.
It's such an important entity to assist over the 10 farmers that we have in Grenada, plus maybe another 5,000 small agro-processors. This institution cannot be left alone. So we're going to revamp it. We're going to come again. We're going to come bigger and better, and make sure we offer the Grenadian people something of substance.
And tell us the framework. Tell us the most important things that will be implemented in this new Envision MNIB. Of course, it will be the name change. The Prime Minister mentioned that it will be a name change. What are some of the other changes, obvious changes that we might see with this new body?
Well, first of all, by the end of February, there will be no more marketing board in Grenada. In terms of we're gonna close it down in regards, but we will not leave it. We will not leave a void. in other words, we have farmers' business to take care of.
Right.
But we're gonna pay off the workers. The government will take on all the debts that marketing board owe, which amongst about $15.1 million. We're gonna take all the assets in our hands. We're gonna have to cease the operation of many of the outlets that is causing the entity, costing the entity a lot of money.
Yeah.
We'll try to avoid paying the rent, and then there'll be a 6 month interim period whereby we will have a few selective staff to operate the marketing building in River Road,
right?
Which will be used to accommodate the farmers who still have produce to sell. But the Prime Minister has made it very, very clear: any action and inaction of the marketing board must not cost the state any more money.
Right.
Because the reason why we are closing down at the end of February, because we do not want to continue spending $155 million on a monthly basis. We do not want to continue maintaining vehicles that really and truly not generating the kind of profits. This is a company that should be making a lot of profit and paying the workers bonus, but for the last couple of years, it's the debt has run up to $15.1 million, and we have to stop the bleeding.
Right.
In going forward, we have a technical working group that we'll be putting in place to oversee that process. We also have the board that we will not interfere with, and the board has its work to do in that period also, because we want to make sure that the farmers are not left in the ocean.
Right.
We want to make sure that the farmers who have produce gets a market for it, so that they can continue their livelihood and generate the kind of income they expect at the time of planting or processing.
Right. So in the creation of the public the
public-private company, private
partnership. Someone like myself, say I'm interested in somehow investing, right? In marketing board. Would that now allow me, with the new structure allow me to say, okay, I'll put $100,000 in, and then I become like a shareholder, and I have some stake, I have some voice in the running of the operation. Is that the form of the structure?
Well, Junior George, people, millionaires like you are expected to put much more than a couple of $1,000 in this business. And therefore, we will be opening up the business to, government will have a say in it still, but we'll be depending heavily on the private sector to come forward and stretch a hand and pump some money into this organization.
Yeah.
Obviously, government will have the infrastructure in place, and that has a cost to it. So that could be our as the Prime Minister said, that could be our contribution towards a new entity.
Right.
But the farmers, the fishermen, agro processors, private people with successful private businessmen, they will all have an opportunity to be part and parcel of this new entity. And I'm hoping that people, even in the diaspora, will come forward and make the contribution so that we can do something of significance for the 10,000 farmers in Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. And Junior, I just want to make the point in terms of the amount of people who are involved in agriculture in Grenada. I always make that point whenever I get that opportunity. Because the 10,000 farmers I'm talking about here, with an average family of 3 to 4 members, you're talking about another 40,000 people who benefit from agriculture.
Agriculture, yeah.
And then if every farmer out of this 10,000 farmers was to employ one Grenadian, is another 10,000 people you're talking about. So this is half of the population who are involved in this business.
Yes.
And therefore, any government who wants the salt cannot ignore a situation like that, where the vast majority of people are involved in agriculture, indirectly or directly, and to ignore them, I mean, it's a sin, and therefore, I think Grenadians should feel happy and proud to know that they are part and parcel a business venture like that. So we are looking forward to Grenadians participating and coming forward to be part and parcel of the new entity.
Yeah, because let me tell you, there is one particular brand. There is Labby Market here in New York, and brother McDonald, he was just awarded Big Mac, and
yeah,
it seemed like we can't get enough breadfruit in Labby Market. We can't get enough tamarind. I mean, people want stuff and they go there. If there could be other outlets similar to Labby Market, not only in New York, but in places like in Miami and other places where Grenadian products could be, I think it could be a successful venture. So I'm just kind of opening up the thought process for a lot of people in those areas as well, who might be thinking about some opportunities in agriculture. I myself have some interest, so I might be knocking on the doors for some ideas in how I could make my contribution into that venture. But it's definitely something that I think that a lot of people will be interested in.
But I would like to inform you also that since we got into office, and as a matter of fact, when we were campaigning, and we campaigned on agriculture, this was one of the big reasons why the people voted us into office. We spoke a lot about revamping the national marketing board. And since the election in June 23rd of June 2022, the hope for agriculture in Grenada has been renewed, and farmers are looking forward to the next 2 or 3 years to see what you're making. I'm getting a lot of feedback from you there.
Okay, I'm hearing you fine. I'm not sure why we have a feedback.
Yeah,
but
yes, yes. So I was making the point that farmers have renewed hope in agriculture,
right?
Not only the crop production but also livestock. The bee farmers are coming to me; they want to do something. The people are cultivating sea moss now rather than going and look for sea.
Yeah,
cultivating the sea moss right on the shore. So there is a renewed hope and vigor in the agricultural sector, and I can assure you that once we organize the transport in regards to airlifting products out of Grenada, vessels. There is one gentleman that is talking to me now that wants to bring agricultural products to Curacao, Trinidad. He's investing heavily he's having his own vessel to come to Grenada and carry those products. So we have in dialogue with these people, and therefore when they do come to Grenada, it means that production will have to boost. Yeah. I'm happy that the farmers have renewed hope. They are vigor and they are ready to go.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Thank you so much. We will be speaking with the Ministry of Agriculture, me personally, but I'm sure other people in the diaspora know it's a partnership where they could be involved in and reap the benefit, and places like England and Miami and even in Queens and other places in the U.S. I could see Grenadian products selling out. Somebody on the live here say, yeah, they know that for a fact because they live close to one of those vegetable places and they can't get enough breadfruit. Every time he come, he sell out. And I think that's the way to go. So thank you, Minister. Any last words before you go? Samson, you have any last question for the Minister before you go? So, Samson?
I'm here. You hear me?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
No, Minister can go ahead because I know he has a
Minister, any closing words before we wrap up on your segment?
Well, I just want to, Judy, I just want to say thank you very much for the opportunity to be on your radio station, on your ride along program. It's always a pleasure chatting with you. I know that you're on the World Wide Web, and a lot of people are hearing you, and I hope that I want to encourage you to continue doing your good work. Follow what's happening in the Ministry of Agriculture, and not only in the popular ministries, but agriculture will surely rise in Grenada, and I want to see your use your good host, your good medium to to channel the work in our dear country. Thank you very much again.
Absolutely. Thank you
Have a
again.
good evening.
Thank you again, Minister. All right, guys. So earlier today, and when we come back, we'll speak about it with Samson. But earlier today, the Prime Minister's press conference, he outlined the way forward for the new ministry. Take a listen to what was said today.
Now, to the issue on marketing and national importing board, as you are aware, the government conducted a number of consultations during the month of January and February pertaining to the state of the marketing and national importing board and how we can treat with trying to find a solution to that. Cabinet, at its meeting on the 6th of February, approved the following approach, and I'm going to provide details of that. Overarchingly, Cabinet has taken the decision that the reform of the Marketing and National Importing Board must happen. To that end, we will embark upon the following. One, the current MNIB will be dissolved over the next 6 months, starting effective the 20th of February 2023. The staff of MNIB will be severed, and the government will undertake the responsibility for paying the severance packages to the 94 employees at the MNIB. Between February and September, and if possibly sooner, the government will take a two-pronged approach to addressing the reform of the MNIB. The existing MNIB will be essentially wound down. The board will be responsible, the current board will be responsible for closing of MNIB outlets that do not need to be opened. We expect that the board will concentrate on the River Road facility and the packing house to continue servicing our farmers during the next 6 months. During that period, the board would be responsible for the management of the winding down of the MNIB operations. In addition to severing the staff and undertaking the liability to pay the staff, the government will also assume liability for the estimated $15.1 million of debt that the Marketing and National Importing Board is currently unable to pay. To that end, the Ministry of Finance will lead the negotiations with the third parties, including the banks and other third parties that Marketing Board is owing. We will also appoint a technical working group, and the technical working group job would essentially be during the 6-month period while we are winding on the Marketing and National Importing Board, would be to assist the government with the creation of a new entity. We envisage that entity will be a public-private partnership between the government of Grenada, private sector individuals, members of the public who may be interested, and other stakeholders, including farmers cooperatives who may be interested in investing in the Marketing and National Importing Board.
All right, Dwight, let's talk a bit. What's your take on this, on everything that was said today in the press conference and what we heard today from the minister? Do you think that the Marketing and National Importing Board could be restructured in a way as to not fall to the same fate as it fell right now? And what's your ideas for restructuring?
No, I have to actually say that I agree with the government's position on this. To be honest, the Marketing and National Importing Board in its present concept, there was literally nothing that could have been done to bring back Marketing Board. Mm-hmm. If you had paid off the outstanding debt, right, which was in excess of $12 million, remember that it's a business venture, right, and it accrues debt on a monthly basis. You have, as Minister alluded to, the $150-something thousand monthly in terms of staff payment. Then you have vehicles and insurance and so on that comes with that. You have utilities and all other ambiguities that comes with running a business on a day-to-day basis. So you would have paid off the debt, but in order for the business to become viable and to be able to run its own affairs, you're talking about another 3 to 5 years comfortably, especially with within the present economic climate of country and the region. Now, not only that, as I alluded to before, you also have to bear in mind that agriculture was a stepchild of the previous administration, and not much little. I mean, minister couldn't even highlight something significant that would have happened in 24 years of the previous administration that was done for agriculture. So it's almost the same thing as what we saw with the seed program.
Right.
The $150 was removed, but why was it removed? It was removed because guess what? We had a list of seed beneficiaries, an established list that was pregnant with dead people or persons who have passed or names of persons who couldn't be validated and all of that.
But hold on. When you said that they did little, because I heard Peter David, Honorable Peter David, commented on that, and basically he said you can't say that they did very little or nothing, because look at the negotiation to have Grenada being one of the only Caribbean country in this part that, one of the only Caribbean islands that could export soursop directly to the United States. That had to be something that the previous administration would have done to accomplish that, right? And other things.
But Junior, let me interject there. Soursop in the last 5 to 10 years, let's give it a decade.
Yeah, I'm just saying what the response was after Peter David was asked.
Hold on, because this is something I had to do for a regional news agency. The world has caught on to the healing elements of soursop, and as a result of that, it had become a high commodity. It became high in demand.
Right.
And so any government that was a producer of soursop, and Grenada is a producer of soursop in high numbers. It's not so much in Antigua or St. Kitts. I think Dominica has a high number as well.
Right.
I think Dominica, St. Lucia, and Grenada are the three countries that had the highest numbers in terms of production. The international community would have knocked on their door and say, "Hey, you have something that we want." The problem is, and this is what Grenadians need to understand: whenever a political organization does something, even if it was suggestive, they come around and they tell you as if they did it. Nothing like that ever happened. The international community got wind of the healing commodities of soursop. And as a result of that, there was a high market internationally for it, not just North America, but Europe as well. There's a high market for it, right? It had to meet certain standards, of course.
Right.
But they came knocking and saying, "Hey, y'all have soursop, we need soursop. How can we make this thing happen?"
Right.
And when they get to the political platform, they go tell you, "Oh, we went searching the markets and police." Because just the same way, there continue to be a high demand for cocoa. But what has been done to structure cocoa in a way that the international community could now say, "Listen, you have cocoa, we want cocoa because we make chocolates and all of the other things. How can we now channel so that we receive at least 150,000 pounds of cocoa every single month? What can be done?" Right? Grenada is known for cocoa, high quality cocoa. We have 3 or 4 establishments in Grenada that deal specifically just with cocoa products. And together with the one in St. Mark's recently that came on board, we have cocoa, we have nutmeg, we have spices. Those things continue to be in high demand in the international community. But what has been done to really and truly create on the local front, not the international front, but the local front, an establishment, or maybe use a marketing board, or create a policy? That's the one I'm looking for. A policy that says, okay, let's help farmers. We have 50 acres of crumb land in St. Mark's. Let's lease this out to the farmer at $1 per year. I'm just saying, right? And let's put all of the utilities, water, light. Let's deal with the issue of pre-delasting. Let's see how we can get farmers young people within the area to farm these lands strictly on cocoa or soursop or whichever, Let's bring up the numbers and let's see how we can export 150, 200, 300, pounds of cocoa on our source on a monthly basis. Has that happened? I dare anybody to provide me with details to prove that. Agriculture under the previous government was a stepchild. They dealt with a lot of the money makers, the CBI, and the, as Minister alluded to, offshore banks and stuff like that, and tourism and so on and so forth. The immediate money makers, the instant money makers, but the ones that could have helped us feed ourselves, as well as feed the international community, much resources were not pumped into those. And I'm saying, the situation with MNIB did not happen in the NDC administration, both of 2008 and of 2022. It didn't. The bleeding was happening before, right? When you have agencies like that, statutory bodies like that, that dealing with food, and you have the FAO and all the regulations that come out of the FAO, and you have different regional organizations on the CARICOM and OECS that deal. These people, they meet, they read the regional meetings from Minister of Agriculture. When last did a Minister of Agriculture from Grenada went? What did they come back with? How much of what they come back with were implemented? What are the best practices that are happening? Look, Guyana has caught on to agriculture. President Ephraim Ali has decided, listen, part of my government sustainable plan, while we have oil, they just found oil, but guess what? They found agriculture as well. And they have given significant amount of their Crown land towards the development of agriculture. So much so that they had a whole forum where I believe it was our Prime Minister that had gone to that forum. I'm not exactly sure, so I stand corrected. Right? Grenada, coming out from the previous NDC government, not of 2008, but from 1990, dealt a lot with agriculture. The NFP government came in, that went out the door. The NDC came back in 2008, dealt a lot with agriculture again. I personally had several conversations with the Honorable Dennis Lett, God rest his soul. My investigation into MNIB back then, and my former news director could bail me on this, was because of a conversation with the Honorable Dennis Lett, God rest his soul, again. And since then, MNIB had significant issues, right? But what I've recognized politically, there's been a pattern in Grenada. The pattern is NNP stay in power for let's say the New National Party administration. Let's try to be respectful along the political lines. They stay in power for 2 terms most of the times. Then maybe they lost. And then after they have lost, the NDC government comes in and have to mop up the mess, and most of the blame and criticism goes towards the NDC government. It happened in 2008, it's happening again. But my question to right-thinking, good-thinking Grenadians is, has this problem existed in the last 7 or so months of the NDC administration? No, it existed. The same thing is happening at the National Insurance Scheme. There are concerns about the viability of NIS going forward. And my Lord colleague, Kalisha Ferrier, brought the question if there's any other statutory body that may be winding up or so. She brought it in the press conference today. That might be winding up. And NIS would not be winding up because, of course, we deal with people's pension and so on and so forth. But I'm saying that half of the issue that plagues all of these statutory bodies and most of the government ministries is the whole issue of putting political appointees to run these establishments. And they have questionable credential, qualifications, experience, and so forth to perform the duties and tasks that is needed. MNIB should have been modernized at the turn of the century and made it more viable, right? And I've said this, MNIB should have been split. Same overall umbrella organization, but one should have been, part of the operation should have been geared and focused on agro-processing. Let's get our Grenadian young people, Grenadians on a whole, into agro-processing. Because what? The single mother at home, right, with 2-3 children to support, could make a livelihood, a sensible livelihood from agro-processing, right? you could have a full-time job and still make an additional income from agro processing.
Yeah.
But policies has to be created in order for that to happen. It just can't happen like that. And marketing, a national important board, was the agency, the statutory body that was charged with the responsibility of finding markets,
Right.
not just on the international and regional front, but locally as well. You understand? So it's commendable and applaudable when you go into supermarkets and you see a little. My friend is a cake baker. I see a little cake and a little this and that. But the cheese straw. I was in Grenada in January and I was looking for cheese straw, groundnut sugar cake, those kind of things. I wanted those things, and I got all kind of numbers, and I have to be running around, and the person that live way in St. Andrews and all of that, you know. And I'm saying, if there was a central body,
Right.
I could have been able to go to that part of the MNIB operation and pick up fresh cheese, guava cheese,
Right.
fresh tamarind balls, or fresh groundnut sugar cake from an establishment that is viable in the tourist belt, or
Right.
supplying to the hotels.
But
so
isn't
on, 'cause
isn't that somewhat part and parcel of the problem, where we have the MNIB operating as a local supermarket and competing with local supermarket, when in fact it should be looking at taking the products that exist and
Exactly.
finding markets for it outside? That makes more sense. So you're not competing with the farmers.
But that's what I'm saying, Junior. I mean, you're in New York. I am in the Caribbean basin, and I'm telling you, I cannot go to a store and pick up guava cheese and see made in Grenada.
Right.
Okay, you probably couldn't do that because we have a large Grenadian community living in New York. But I'm saying, generally, you want to find markets for these kind of things. I am baffled at how Grenadians, from their kitchen, cannot make certain cocoa products
Right.
and export it from their kitchen. And I am saying a part of the Market for National Important Board operation
Right.
should have been towards that. But, and that's why when I mentioned modernization, this is what I'm speaking about. Then there should have been a part of the MNIB operation that deals with the science of agriculture. Science of agriculture. You need to be able to say, okay, you need to have persons or liaison, maybe even with the diplomatic offices, Grenada's diplomatic offices throughout the world. You
Right.
should be able to say, okay, what is their demand for in the national community? We have pumpkins, we have the copperback skin pumpkins, we have the black belly pumpkin, whatever the name of the pumpkins are, don't quote me on it. But you have pumpkins, you have guava, you have mangoes, you have all of these tropical foods that we are so rich in.
Right.
Just slap and cut in Grenada. And I'm saying that the problem started there, because MNIB could have been sustainable had it done what was needed to be done, had the structures been put into place that need to be put into place to build a viable. But it wasn't. That was not the interest. The interest was to use the body for political gains. You put political appointees all up and down the organization. People with big office and desk and no work to be done, and so on and so forth. And at the end of the day, they collect huge salaries. They go home with huge salaries. And as the Prime Minister alluded to today in the press conference, they jump on a plane in first class at the expense of the statutory body. No one there to hold them accountable, checks and balances, because guess what? The political entity covers them and shelters and shields them.
Right.
And at the end of the day, the organization suffers. And then who ultimately suffers? The Grenadian people.
Right. Let's see if we can open up the phone lines here to get some views from some of the viewers. Guys, if you're watching and you want to contribute to the conversation, you can call right now. The number is 718-701-5720. The question is, what's your vision for the new MNIB? And also, tell me if you think that this current administration did enough to save MNIB in the current construct. Or do you believe that, phasing it out and coming up with a new concept, the new vision of MNIB, which would not be called MNIB, by the way, some new name. Do you think, what's your idea of the makeup? And do you think that, and basically, what's your idea for the makeup? So do you think that this government, this current administration did enough to save MNIB? Give us a call, 718-701-5720. That's 718-701-5720. Also, guys, don't forget that this program is brought to you with the kind compliments of riders to Dubai, ride along to Dubai. The QR code is on the screen. You just scan that and give you all the information that you need to book your trip right now for our exclusive excursion to Dubai that's taking place in October. However, you need to book and reserve your space now. Just point your phone to that QR code there and you're well on your way to Dubai with Ride Along Live. Let's take a quick commercial break, guys, and we'll be right back.
I want you folks to play these 3 games from the NLA. Daily pick 3 cash flow and play with. You will be supporting sports and culture, nation building and our future. So go out and play, folks, make it a must. You will see what the National Lottery is doing for us. When you play pick 3 cash flow and play with, the NLA will support you all the way.
Starting September 30th, Monday to Friday, these 3 games will be drawn mid-morning, 9:45 a.m., midday, 12:45 p.m., and evenings, 7:45 p.m. The National Lotteries, supporting sports, culture, and nation building.
Sunday money day.
Again, guys, we're taking your call live on the topic of MNIB. What's your thoughts? What are your thoughts? And did the government do enough to save MNIB? And your vision for the new MNIB? All right? Give us a call. Want to hear from you. Or you could comment. All right, we have a comment here. Let me see if I could pull it up. Mr. Killer mentioned something similar in that community meeting they had recently at Guav.
Oh.
Yeah, yes, he did. He did. All right, guys, again, 718-701-5720. We have the line open for the next 5 minutes. Want to get your voice on the topic of MNIB. Dwight, you mentioned about the political appointment, right? But when thinking about it, isn't all the statutory bodies operate the same way in terms of their political appointment to positions? So if MNIB's fate came to this, is it possible that other statutory bodies might be in the view of something similar? The fate of the statutory bodies.
I don't want to make that pronouncement. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, I don't want to make that pronouncement, as I think it might be a reckless statement to make. But one of the things I'm very concerned about, and I think that generally Grenadians take lightly the statement that the Prime Minister made at the town hall meeting back in October last year, and that has to do with management of certain things. I think what the Prime Minister essentially was doing was giving us an idea as to how the state of affairs will run during the time of the previous administration, and that's a very dangerous thing. You know, where you have the vote for simply the run of the constitution offices or the MPs offices. You know that was done from the Prime Minister's ministry and not from the House of Parliament, right? And then you had a company, a cleaning company brought in, you know, and the amount of money, and then you have the situation with the faith organization that's still hanging in the gallows. All of these issues tells you about the state of affairs and how things were done, right? And so it brings home, it galvanizes the issue as to how many more, and I think that's why I alluded to Kalishra Farah's question. How many more of these statutory bodies are in a state of disrepair? You know, and that's a serious question. And what can be done, you know, to alleviate that problem? I alluded to NIS. You know, I think it was about a year ago, a few months ago, a conversation regarding NIS came up. The post office, another statutory body, it was alleged that it was sold. Then we hear that it wasn't sold and it was supposed to be sold, and you know, back and forth conversations with that. You know, and so we need to. I think the government needs to do a bit of investigation into all of the statutory bodies, the over 20 plus of them, right, and see where we stand, what has been done, you know, and so on and so forth. MNIB is just the worst of it. we had a situation where a report was done, a question into its operations, financial operations, etc., about a year ago, and that happened under the NNP administration. But then guess what? When you listen to and I went back today, I went back and searched as much as I can. If you had listened to the government, the previous government assertion on the MNIB situation, you would swear that it wasn't as bad as the NDC government is making it out to be.
Yeah. Hold on, Dwight. Someone that with experience, because they work instead of MNIB, disputing something that you said earlier in relation to the soursop. The individual said, they just wrote to me, they said that Grenada were permitted to export soursop to the United States in 2004, 2005, after the U.S. would have done a 10-year monitoring for the pest in soursop. Grenada was proven to be free of the pest. This has to be guarded because if we end up with the pest again, we'll be banned. So they're saying it has nothing to do with the party that was in power, but instead that particular pest that was not found in Grenada soursop. And that's coming from someone who was at very high ranking position at the MNIB.
But that is what I said. I said that the governments tend to, political entities has this tendency where something happens under their tenure and they sometimes have little or nothing to do with it. But guess what? They take it and they brand it and use it as if it was a success for them. The NNP government, if you listen to the Honorable Peter David's statement via one of the other news platforms, the current affairs platform, it made it sound as if he, with a set of technicians from his ministry, went out there and searched for markets, which was not the case. The case was that soursop, the healing commodities of soursop, garnered attention, and so they looked within the Caribbean. I didn't want to allude to the whole situation of the pest, but yes, they looked through the Caribbean, also probably the world, for producers of soursop that met the standard, which is what I said, they met the standard, right? And therefore, they could have now said to this country, well, you can export to us because you have met the standard, right? And I'm saying again, that does not allude to the previous administration doing anything whatsoever for agriculture. And I maintain my statement that they did little to nothing for agriculture and for the survival of the agriculture sector within Grenada. And I make no apologies for that statement, because agriculture, I remember when I was in news again, I did a whole feature on the black sycamore. That's a plague that affects banana, right? What has been done there? I barely could have find information from the ministry as to, had they had scientists, or had they come up with anything to treat it, and how to control it, and because this was affecting the production of banana within the state of Grenada.
Right.
I spent almost 2 to 3 weeks on this particular feature, and to this date, I still haven't found, from the ministry's standpoint, okay, well, we sent off samples to China or to wherever, we studying it, we're trying to come up with a remedy or a solution to the problem. None of that. And I am saying that had the government really, the previous administration, really been interested in agriculture, they would have done something to deal with the issues that were plaguing the MNIB before it got to this point, and would have modernized the operation, modernized the entity, so that it would have been able to do what it was originally purposed to do, right? Which was to find markets and to be the exporter and importer of agriculture-based products.
Yeah. Listen, we have to put a hard stop here. We're a little bit over time, and with a commitment coming up in 5 minutes, so we have to wrap up here. But it was definitely interesting to hear from the minister and hear this perspective. In the week, we also looking to have former employees who will defend the fact that in certain instances, in many instances, they would say that the MNIB has been profitable. But we'll get more of that information later down in the week. Dwight Sampson, thank you so much, my brother, for joining us in this late call, but you accepted the call. We appreciate you. Let's wrap it up. Last words before we bounce out.
Yeah, as I go, there's something that I wanted to personally do a live about on my own platform, but I think I may have more traction on your platform. To me, it's a level of hypocrisy. And I want to make this 30 seconds. The level of hypocrisy. This government, I'm not saying they're perfect. I'm not saying that because I may be a supporter or not a supporter of the government. This government has taken a lot of licks for things that they had no control over or no ability to deal with. One of those things is, okay, for example, the seed program. The previous administration happened to put $150 on the present amount of the seed money in January of what just happened to be an election year, right? And then put a condition that is going to be removed at the end of that year, which means that if they had won the election in June, it would have been a good 6 months before that seed money. So they'd been comfortable in office and the money would have gone just the same. But this government won and they had to take the licks for it, right? Then you had the whole issue with the CBI program, which was a total misinformation, right? And then now you have the issue with the MNIB and it having to be shut down. I'm saying that the previous administration really and truly did not leave things nice and dandy and in order as they projected to be. A lot was wanted, a lot was lacking, right? So I'm appealing to all of our green media. Let's have a reasonable conversation. The elections is over. Let's put aside the election bantering and let's deal with the issues as they come. And let's be fair and critical and let's see how we can move forward as a green agent people. Because what has been done in the last 6 to 7 months is more than what has been done in the last 24 years of the previous administration. And I stick right there. Dunya, thanks again for the opportunity. Have a good night.
Big up yourself, my brother. We appreciate you as always. Right along live again, we thank you guys for joining. Thanks for being a part of our conversation tonight on this very, very important topic. We appreciate your input. Again, guys, we'll be following up and see what shape this new MNIB take going forward. And we will keep you on the heels of those changes. Again, guys, we are still open to accepting booking. We just increased our numbers again, and I know someone said earlier that they're not sure if we had more space. Yes, we do in fact have more space. We're heading to Dubai. That QR code is right there. You click on that, take your phone, point it to the QR code, and this is basically a trip of a lifetime, an excursion of a lifetime, taking you to Dubai. All right, click on it for more information. Only $250 down, and you have like about 6 to 8 months to pay that off. It'll be a trip that you will never forget. All right. Thanks again for watching. Thank you, Sherry Destination, for partnering with us to make this possible as well. Thank you guys on behalf of all our production team here at Right Along Live, our senior executive producer Lois JJ, our moderators Kibbs, Deanne Fraser, and Gail. We say good night. Have a good one. Catch you guys again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Carpentry and Cleaning Service Inc., providing exceptional carpet and cleaning, floor installation, refinishing, home renovations, drywall, painting, plastering, doors and moldings, electrical and plumbing, and much more. We are a one-stop shop for all your professional needs. Give us a call today on 718-221-5572. That is 718-221-5572. Or you can call our cell on 917-939-3192. Check out our sales on all services. We're located at 218 Schenectady Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. Phillips Carpentry and Cleaning Service Inc.
Saturday, March 18th, it's time to report for duty as New Face Promotion presents Revo Dance 19.
Do you know what it means to have a revolution?
Revo Dance 19.
Here I come with love and nothing.
All taking place at 178 Newport Street, Brooklyn, New York. Get your $40 tickets now. More at the door. For ticket info, contact 347-304-5453. And you must be 21 and over. Music by Exterminator Sound. Live from Canada. From New York, Joe Bailey. Silence. No Apology. DJ Synergy. And DJ Hot Stepper. Table and bottle package is available. Dress code Army Green or camouflage. A special prize for the best dress, male or female. And listen, when you buy your ticket early, you can win a return ticket with JetBlue to Grenada in the month of May and June 2023. It's Revo Dance 19.
Established in 1998, Ross Road Funeral Services continues to assist you plan the ideal funeral or memorial service locally or internationally. Our reputation is built on providing personalized funeral services based on love and compassion. Call Ross Road Funeral Services at 718-547-0640.
Ross Road Funeral Services, where your loved one is our loved one.
Williams Funeral Service serve you with dignity and compassion as you mourn. Every day, we embark on the journey of life, and one day, the journey will end. It's on that day that you can entrust the celebration of life of your loved ones to David Williams Funeral Service. Call 718-291-3823.
I want you folks to play these 3 games from the NLA. Daily pick 3 cash flow and play with. You will be supporting sports and culture, nation building and our future. So go out and play, folks, make it a must. You will see what the National Lottery is doing for us. When you play pick 3 cash flow and play with, the NLA will support you all the way.
Starting September 30th, Monday to Friday, these 3 games will be drawn mid-morning, 9:45 a.m., midday, 12:45 p.m., and evenings, 7:45 p.m. The National Lotteries, supporting sports, culture, and nation building.
Sunday money day.